Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone. Me and my team, we would like to present a research entitled Understanding Micro Farmers' Motivations and Decision on Challenges Faced in Malaysia. So these are the list of the researcher, writer for this paper. So what drives us to study this is due to certain reason. So let us start with some introduction here. Refining micro farmers' involvement in realizing multiple sustainable development goals, mainly in Malaysia, remain largely unheard. So it's very based on our reading, based on the literature. It seems that the studies or the research on this area is very limited, particularly with regards to micro farmers, okay, and SDG. And this is particularly true in Johor. Johor is in the southern part of Malaysia, and we pick a very specific area in Johor, which is in Segamat, where agriculture remains one of the most imperative sectors and is dominated by this group of farmers. We refer it as micro farmers. Despite their massive involvement in this agriculture sector and the potential to be a socially sustainable business, particularly in Segamat Johor, these micro farmers still face some challenges and obstacles in apprehending multiple SDGs. So due to that, this drive us, okay, to look into this matter, and we've found out that there is a need to understand the agriculture activities carried out by these micro farmers, essentially in Segamat Johor. And it is crucial to determine the types of challenges faced by this group of farmers to respond to the above problem. Right? So, just along, talk about these micro farmers. Let us start by looking into the definition of micro farmers. We can define the term micro farming as a small scale, high yielding, environmentally friendly farming that is typically done by hand in urban or suburban region, right? Most important thing in terms of the size itself, it's very small as compared to the ordinary groups. So, based on some literature, example by Tengku and Karbashini, 2009, um, growth cannot be sustained through protectionist measures and increasing subsidies in the agriculture sector. And according to Baki 2009, challenges in the new millenniums are poverty persistence among the rural farming community, traditional agriculture system, continuing pressure on the deterioration of the natural resource base, labor-intensive plantation agriculture. And not only had the population of land, not only had the problem of land, Jamal and Yaqub also stated that shortage of domestic labor would be one of the issues in the future roles of the agriculture economy in Malaysia. And last but not least, based on the recent studies by Muhammad Fazli Ali et al., found that most factors decline in rubber plantation is the impact of prolonged low prices of. So these are examples of the research that been carried out related to the area, in particular with this group of farmers, okay, where specifically we refer as micro farmers. So there are quite numbers of obstacles and challenges faced by them. Um, Unfortunately, in terms of the numbers of the researchers and the report that been presented is quite limited. So based on this reading, we carry out the study. And to carry out the study on this is the methodology that we adopted. So this study adopted the exploratory research design, and the data were collected through a semi-structured interview approach. And to be more specific, our target respondents are those farmers, small farmers who were in the Segamat Johor, Malaysia. Okay, those farmers who conduct or doing activities, farming activities, specifically in this area. And how did we choose this sample? We technically use the concept of snowball sampling by identifying those relevant group based on the earlier respondent. And from there, we get to know more. And in our studies, we involve a very limited number of sample because this is just our preliminary study in this area. So based on that feedback, we come up with this paper. And to be more specific, this is the process involved in handling the data and how we go about. So data collected through semi-structured interview, and then the researcher prepare the data analysis, and further from that data we go through and we try to generate some sense of those material, and eventually the researcher codes the data and locate the segments and assign code label of those gathered data that been analyzed. And in terms of the findings here, based on the analysis, like I have informed just now, in terms of our numbers of sample is very limited. Yeah, it only involved 5 respondents that represent the micro farmers. So they are from different background, and in terms of the size of the farms that they handle, it ranged from very limited, from 1 acre to 50 acres, and all these under the categories of micro farmings. With regards to the types of farmings that they involve too, very wide range of farmings. Example, in terms of rubber, okay, they grow rubber tree, pineapples. We also have those who involve with oil palm plantations. Yeah. Okay. Let us move to the next findings apart from the demographic profile. So these are the main findings that we figure out, that we gain through our interview. So our focus is to look at the challenges and obstacles that they face being micro farmers. So we try to compare whether is there any similarities or with differences with regards to the earlier studies that being carried out, because most of the studies that being carried out previously focus on those bigger groups of farmers, okay, bigger size of farmers, and perhaps there will be some differences that we expect from here. So technically, these are the list of challenges that they face. For instance, no doubt that whatever industries that you embark with, market price are very crucial, okay, where many of them they face some uncertainty in terms of the selling price. So this will create risk to this group of farmers, okay, because they aren't able to control the price, and apparently they have to accept the facts. Okay, they have to accept the price offered by the market. And in terms of land ownership, some of them, okay, many of them responded that land owned by more than one person, because this land heritage from one families to another, and apparently they cannot sustain long, and these land have been divided into several, and that will limit in terms of the productivities of the agriculture activities. And another point is in terms of the crops, right? The demand of those crops that they involve with are technically, especially in terms of food, okay, we would say is increased, but unfortunately they have some limitation in terms of expanding their land, expanding their agriculture activities due to land restriction. Okay, other example, this is very specific on particular crops, which is latex, rubber, yeah. So the quality of the output that they produce largely depends on the quality of the latex. Okay, largely depends on the types of clones and the methods that they use. Okay, take example in terms of their tapping skills that will influence the quality of the output. And other example of the challenges with regards to pest infestation, right? Somehow the usage of the usage of this pest infestation is crucial. However, at the same time, it may create pollution, and this does not in line with the requirement of the SDG. Other challenges that we discovered from the studies is with regards to price of fertilizer. It This is due to example because of the resources in terms of the supply of this fertilizer very limited lately, and apparently it leads to increase in price, and of course generally this will add more costs, okay, to the micro farmers. Apart from that, in terms of shortage of workforce, okay, those people who wants to work in their farm normally are not those local. We have people from Indonesia, people from Bangladesh. Okay, lately the farmers facing difficulty, okay, to get these people to work with them. One of the reason due to the restriction of the flow of this labor to Malaysia, and other example in terms of their wages has increased. Okay, other example of challenges we have here, government agency assistance is crucial for sustainability. Uh, okay, this group of farmers, they rely so much on the incentive given by the government agency for them to survive, to to sustain their activities. They need support from these government agencies, example, to provide them subsidies and so forth. Other example, the challenges due to the changes of the policy. And these changes of the policy leads to changes of guidelines of the industry. And technically, it may affect uh, some of the benefits provided by the government agency to this group of people. And last but not least, in terms of the applying of latest technology, okay, the adoption of new technology into agriculture for these micro farmers, based on our survey, based on our interview, it seems that many of them, they're still lacking in terms of adopting this new technology, and eventually this may limit them to produce at the optimum level. So these are example of the challenges that we gained, that we discovered through our interviews from our respondent. Okay, and of course, in this sense, there are areas where we found similarities with the previous research, and there are also a few of them that we found that are very crucial. Okay, and it is very focused to these micro farmers. Example are challenges in terms of government agency assistance, okay, as well as in terms of the land ownership. Okay, we hardly seen this element or these factors being discussed in the previous study, in particular with regards to those big farmers, right? But for micro farmers, this is the crucial part for them. this is one of the challenges that they face, right? So they rely so much on the agencies, the government agencies, and they have difficulty in terms of expanding their uh, agriculture activities due to land ownership that's very limited. So therefore, to conclude and to sum up our discussion here, our research, we propose a few suggestions. We from our result of the study suggests that more exertion needs to be invested in the development of micro farmers resilient framework, because to stay apart, to stay longer, okay, there is a need for those interest group to make sure that certain action need to be taken in order for these micro farmers to stay longer. And more specific, should look into the concept of sustainable microfarming agriculture model by taking into account problems that they face, such as price fluctuation, ownership of land, as well as workforce scarcity. And not forgotten, like we have highlighted just now, in terms of the incentive from the government agency, because this group relies so much on that. And this is in response to the specific nature of their challenges that requires a different approach to anticipating them as compared to the big player. So with that, I thank you. Okay. Assalamualaikum.